So we're here as part of Drexel University and Westphal College of Media Arts and Design, and we're here to showcase the senior projects from the class of 2016. Just a few brief words of context for those of you unfamiliar with the program or have only been witnessing it from afar through your student children. The program began small and grew as it developed generalists for the small growing industry that needed digital media. It began and grew very successfully, placing our students in a variety of industries. With that growth, we required additional degrees and more specialties in interactive digital media, animation and visual effects, game design and production. These degrees allowed us to train our students to be specialists for the growing industry and their needs for that. Part of that growth meant that we were starting to get too big for the scattering of labs and basement classrooms that we had. So we were lucky enough to 2012 to move into the urban center, along with most of Westphal, and incredible new facilities. And along with that new facility in 2012 came in a new group of freshmen. And those freshmen are our seniors here today. So how did they get here? They go through a series of classes, a series of projects, a series of challenges, and it begins with small, simple projects that are experimental, low risk, high opportunity to really be daring. And as the projects get larger, the challenges for learning and practicing the skills of project management and learning how to play well with others is an important element that the students grow into. And working with others is a primary aspect of Drexel University and the diversity of the programs that we have here. Our students work with programs all across the university, from medical school, psychology, computer science, engineering, and the like. The final capstone project is what you're here to see the results of today, and that's the senior project. Whereas projects prior to this went for a couple of weeks, maybe a full term even, and the game design workshop goes for a full 2 terms, the senior capstone project is a year-long effort. They're in the project formally for 3 terms, but it begins really in the spring. We have juniors out there right now worrying about what their ideas are, talking to faculty, trying to pair themselves up with an individual faculty advisor who will shepherd them through the process. And those ideas are kicked around all over the summer, and they're challenged by the faculty, they're turned into additional experiments, and by the time they get into the fall term, that's when that idea has hopefully evolved enough that they can really buckle down for the first month or so of the fall term and turn that into a solid plan and an achievable scope that they will attempt over the next 3 terms. By the end of fall, they hope to have a prototype, basically, of their project, an alpha state, an animatic, whatever the variety of that application would be. And they take that into the fall, into the winter, pardon me, into the winter, and the winter is where the bulk of the production occurs. That's where they have to knuckle down, and they're putting in those incredibly long hours and trying to get the bulk of the project done. And their goal at the end of winter is a beta stage, a stage that is a project that is all but done. And oftentimes in their earlier projects, the shorter projects, this is as far as they could go. The timing of everything just doesn't allow them to take that extra step. The challenge and the opportunity of senior project is for them to take into spring that beta project, that all but done effort, and really refine it and polish it and turn it into the polished results that you'll see today. And I look forward to show you in just a moment. Before we go on, though, I want to make sure that we cover a few logistics. We're in a theater, so I please ask you to silence your phones. Because we are recording, everything will be captured with multiple cameras, and we've got all the original video. All this will be going up on YouTube, so flash photography is not required. Thank you for that. And after the showcase, I invite you all to come up and join us in the South America room to join the graduate students. We have over a dozen graduate students upstairs with some incredible research projects, as well as the senior teams will be up there, and you'll get an opportunity to speak with them directly and get hands-on time with their projects and really get to a much closer look at what you're seeing here today. But really, the gold tables that are the perimeter of the expo upstairs are the graduate projects, and there's some really incredible research that is up there, so I encourage you strongly to spend some time seeing their projects. There, of course, will also be refreshments upstairs, and I invite you to participate in that. There's also going to be a really rather incredible, I only got a glimpse of it earlier, but one of our seniors has a particular knack with fondant and cake making, and there's a rather spectacular cake upstairs. It's not edible. Do not eat the fondant cake, but there is lovely cakes on the side of that that I do invite you to eat. So with that, I want to do a couple of last quick thank yous. An event like this, a program like this, a series of projects that go on for a year, these things do not happen in a vacuum. Daphne Wright keeps our program running smoothly and has helped me countless times throughout the year getting ready for today. Jay Rappaport and his IT crew, who have been here today as well, keep the labs running and the render farm running, and it is not an easy task. Troy Finnemore, one of our professors, was incredible with the graphic design and guidance and calming, soothing words throughout this entire process. Nick Jashishin is over here with his video crew and doing an incredible job capturing this for posterity. So that's going to be a great video to watch. I want to thank Michael Wagner, our department head, for giving me this opportunity and this challenge, keeping me in line while I try to do the same for the students. Without leadership, all right, that's our first gaffe. Are you counting? Let's keep count. Well, Dean Sabinson, thank you for your guidance, for your support. You've helped create this program to the level that it is today, and we're very strong because of your support. Thank you so much. And all of our faculty that I suddenly bring up all at once, and all of our adjuncts and my TA, Josh Cohn, who is, I've been running ragged for weeks right now, but it takes a village to put this together, and it's been quite the adventure. And with that, I'm done talking about, well, I'm done talking. I'm going to give it over to the students. I'm very excited to start showing you some incredible projects, and if our teams are ready, I would like to call our first team to the stage. Polyscape Games.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you so much for coming out today. We are Polyscape Games, and today we are so excited to share with you our senior project, The Knowledge We Seek. My name's Tom. I'm the team's technical director and puzzle designer.
I'm Nishma. I did marketing and concept art.
I'm Nina. I was one of the 3D artists.
I'm Basil. I'm one of the other 3D artists.
I'm Samantha. I'm 2D art and character design.
I'm Jinha. I'm another 2D artist and level design.
And one of the awesome parts about this project is we got to collaborate with students across the university. So we had a dedicated computer science team and a musician who helped us bring our game to life. So when we first started this project way back in September, it was really important to all of us that we go through an extended brainstorming session to come up with an idea all of us would be interested in working on for the next 9 months. And we went through tons of concepts and ideas, but one thing that really stuck out to all of us was exploring communication through play. And more specifically, having 2 players talk back and forth to solve problems together. And that eventually led us to The Knowledge We Seek. Thank you. So when we first started thinking about this idea, we started talking about what types of designs and technologies would encourage players to talk with each other. So we started with the idea of developing a game for mobile devices, such as smartphones and tablets, since those are so inherently tied with our everyday communication. But we also wanted to try something a little bit more experimental too. So we looked at developing for virtual reality devices, because many people consider these to be very isolating experiences. You put those together, and you get the knowledge we seek. The knowledge we seek is a two-player puzzle game where both players have different parts of the solution. The first player plays as the prophet, as pictured on the left, where they enter the world wearing a virtual reality headset, seeing all the small details and clues around the environment from a first-person perspective. The second player plays as the god of knowledge, as pictured on the right, where they can manipulate the world using a tablet. Both players have to combine their unique perspectives and abilities to solve problems together.
When it came to user experience, we wanted to go for when it came to the environment, we wanted to go for something a little bit more ethereal, but also that felt very isolating, so the prophet would feel very alone in the temple. The god of knowledge would have to let them know they're not alone and work with them to solve puzzles. When it came to user experience, we were a little bit more open-ended. We found that different players would have very different experiences depending on who they were with. So siblings and friends would tend to yell at each other a lot more, but strangers would be a little bit more docile. We found that this added a level of replayability and excitement to the game, since different players would have completely different experiences. And here's just a little bit of what they look like.
Turn the lights on. I'm in here. Wow, you're in the room too? No, I'm controlling the room. Now you're upside down.
Unprofessional.
Sorry, dude. Listen, I'm just a playtester.
Maybe if I spin this dial. Oh, you just made it rain a different color. Oh, I'm controlling the seasons. Oh.
What I believe is the entranceway that has all of my instructions.
Well, it looks like I'm God, and I'm the one meter blocks me outside. So a bacon roast might be as soon as I figure out what man is right.
Oh,
I've seen things. There's like a little thing on this thing. What is this thing on this thing?
Have you ever seen those pop-out star? Have you ever played the game that was like put all the things in the little thing that you have a timer? Yeah, it looks like there's a star piece on that.
Oh, yeah, that game.
I picked it up. I picked that thing up.
So there are two characters that the players will be able to control in the game. Oh. Okay. The tablet player will be the god of knowledge, who traveled around the world in order to find this knowledge, to the point where even his shoes were worn away. And he plans to uncover the truth between the two false deities that reside within the temple. Along with him is the prophet, who will be on the VR side. And the prophet is a golem created by the god of knowledge, because the god of knowledge himself cannot enter the temple. So the prophet will be there to give the god of knowledge first-hand experience and help.
And here is a breakdown of how we created an environment. The first step of the process is the concept art. The image is the concept art of the main hall, where is the home base and tutorial space of the game. The art style of the game was inspired by Japanese Shinto culture and Middle Eastern culture. From both environments, we took Shinto's sleek and minimal design elements and Middle Eastern's beautiful detailed patterns. And the next step is work on the top-down map. The image is a top-down map of the main hall. There is 3 doors at the end of each stairs, and each doors are connected to 2 different puzzle rooms and 1 credit room. After the concept art and the top-down map are done, here is the line sketches. Here is the line sketches of what everything looks like on the inside. And it shows all details of the environment, and each objects are separated by different colors for visibility. And after all sketches are done, the images are passed to our 3D artists, Basil and Nina.
So once we were finished concepting the main hall in 2D, it was time to give it some 3D form. We started with a gray box model, which is kind of like a 3D version of a sketch, and used this to walk through the space and see what it looked and felt like from the inside. We actually ended up pushing the staircases back a little bit to give the main hall a grander feeling. We also tested different lighting setups and color palettes to see what gave us the final look we were looking for, which is this. So the prophet begins the game looking around the inside of the main hall for clues, but it is actually the god of knowledge who must take the first step from the outside. As seen in the bottom left, only the god of knowledge can use their god's eye view to find and activate the glyph on the bottom of the temple. This will reveal an offering to the prophet inside. Since both players get very different pieces of information, it is very important that they speak to each other about what they're seeing, so they can choose this offering to place in front of the God of Dreams' door. This will then open the door to his holding room, which the prophet can enter. They will drift out of consciousness into the world of dreams, where the God of knowledge is already awaiting them.
So the first of the false deities is the God of Dreams, who the players will face. He is a deity with a lot of childlike wonder, and he likes to take artifacts from his favorite dreams and use them to dot his landscape.
While working on the environment of the Dreams puzzle, we wanted it to be uniquely different from what we already had. As such, we moved from warm colors like red to more cool colors like blue, while still keeping the Japanese Shinto and Middle Eastern influences to make it feel like two parts of the same game. This puzzle is a large, circular, three-tiered labyrinth floating within a dreamscape. So when the players first enter the puzzle, they will first find out that they will have to journey to the center and unlock the main door. The God of Knowledge, who has a God's eye perspective, can see the entire labyrinth, but can't see where the prophet is. He also needs to guide the prophet to all the keys that are dotted within the labyrinth before journeying to the center. As such, the prophet will have to communicate effectively using the landmarks that are all around the labyrinth to make sure that they know where each other are. The God of Knowledge also can move every single tier of the labyrinth, making it so that he can create new paths for the prophet. Once they journey and find all the keys, they can journey to the center and shatter the God of Dreams.
The second of the false deities that the players will face is the goddess of happiness. Long ago, she blessed the world with joy, but when misery crept through, the people blamed her for this. So she disappeared into her temple and left behind the words, "Only in despair will one find true happiness."
When entering Happiness's realm, the two players are tasked to poison the goddess's tea. This puzzle is designed to enforce the communication and problem solving of the two players that they have been practicing up until this point. This will be their final test. So when daring to enter Happiness's realm, the God of Knowledge first needs to light up the room for the prophet to see. Afterwards, the prophet needs to find the mystical seeds that are around the room and discover its origins with their respective riddles. Since the God of Knowledge can change time and therefore change weather, they must figure out when each seed must be planted and when each seed is in full bloom. Only after they harvest each seed, they'll be able to make the deadly combination and poison the goddess's tea and flee the room.
We've been really hard at work trying to show the knowledge we seek to as many people as possible, and so far it's gone really well. We had a fun and successful time back in April at Philly Tech Week. We also went to Drexel Spring Jam and the first ever Drexel Game Developers Conference. We also submitted the knowledge we seek to Indiecade and plan on going to a bunch of other conventions this year.
And none of this would be possible without the help and support from all of the following. So first, to our advisor, Dr. Frank Lee, for acting as our biggest cheerleader for these past 9 months. to Professor Lloyd for guiding us through production and helping us bring out our best in every presentation, to Professor Vokalos for advising our computer science team, and to Josh Cohn for helping get our virtual reality devices working, everybody at the Entrepreneurial Game Studio for giving us a place to work and playtest, and finally to all of our playtesters and family and friends for making this game better than we ever could have made by ourselves. So that's it for us. Thank you so much for your time. We are Polyscape Games. Thank you. And if you want to follow this project, you can find us on Twitter at Polyscape Games, on Facebook, and if you want to try the knowledge we seek yourself, you can come find us on the show floor right after these presentations. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Polyscape Games. Well done. An incredible VR project that undergraduates are working at that level with that hardware. Our digital media program is at the cutting edge of playing with that, and our graduate students are doing even more. So again, please check out the expo floor and some of the research around that. Next to the stage is Lucky Dog Games.
Oh, wow, this is awesome. Hello, and thank you so much for coming out to our senior show. We are the digital media half of Lucky Dog Games. My name is Victoria Stanton. I'm the team lead, the 3D department, and the lead writer.
I'm Christina Bozaglova. I'm a 2D artist and 2D animator.
I'm Alex Koo, and I'm a 2D artist.
I'm Stephen Ng, and I'm on the team lead artist, sorry.
And I'm Matthew Deaton, UI designer and 2D artist.
Along with us is Alex Siegelman, who's done our music, our website, and various 2D assets. And we are very proud to present to you our senior capstone project, RGB. Thank you so much. So, as you can see, RGB is a Wii U game where you play as a cute little eyeball named Eyeball. You quickly maneuver through a maze of rooms, sweeping across the floor to uncover a photo, and you use your stylus to fight off waves of enemies. So when you first open up the game, this is who you will see. The two retina retainers, Cynthia on the left and Dexter on the right, are your quintessential helpers. They run the tutorial, and they provide access to options, hints, and instructions in the main game. Did it change? Yeah? Did it change? Yeah, I hope. After conversing with them, Eyeball is brought into the tutorial area and set loose.
So as players move Eyeball around, they gradually unveil an image below the level's surface. The more of the picture they reveal, the better their score. The UI in the top left displays the % of the picture revealed along with the red, green, and blue color values the player has collected.
The player will use the stylus to swipe across the Wii U pad screen to defeat the enemies. When an enemy is defeated, a portion of the area around them will be revealed, giving combat a strategic application. The game's enemies are based off of tools an artist would use, such as paint and marble. The enemies will spawn as the player maneuvers Eyeball through the dungeon. Some enemies will follow and attack Eyeball, while others, such as the paint bucket, will remain in the same place and spawn more enemies.
To aid in combating these enemies, a vending machine will randomly spawn in the level, offering a selection of 3 items at a cost of some of the RGB values the players collected. There are 2 types of items, passive and active. They increase stats and add new abilities. There's no limit on how many passive items the player can carry, but only 1 active item can be attached at any time.
Once a certain percentage of the photo is revealed, a portal will appear, allowing players to leave the level. This means players can finish the level without completing the immense task of uncovering 100% of the photo. However, leaving early would be ill-advised.
In every playthrough, the player will fight a boss. Only once the boss is defeated is the playthrough considered complete. Failing to beat the boss within a time allowed, however, spells complete failure, regardless of the percentage you've uncovered already. Now, the players can fight the boss anytime after uncovering a minimum percentage of the photo, 15%. We advise against that, however, because the percentage you've uncovered and the points you've earned will be factored into your judgment. Cephalon is your judge and resident hedonistic overlord. Now, Cephalon isn't satisfied with anything less than the best, and they will definitely tell you so. Cephalon runs most of the action outside of the level, so that's who you'll talk to access new levels and purchase unlockables. At the end of every level, Cephalon judges the player on their speed and percentage of the photo uncovered. The color values the player has collected will be translated into our game's 3 currencies: red, green, and blue prisms. Thoroughness and quickness are 2 things that we really want to emphasize, where we want the player to do as much as they can in as short a time as possible.
The helm is the hub of the entire game, where players can spend their prisms or access the rest of the game. Players can talk to Dexter or to Cynthia to get advice or to change their game settings, or they can talk to Cephalon to access the remaining features of the game. These include unlocking characters and costumes, unlocking and playing level photos, or replaying the tutorial.
So with their prisms, players can purchase cool new costumes for their eyeball character to wear throughout playing the game. These costumes all represent fun visual puns such as bullseye, Hawkeye, stare, and more.
There they are.
Another thing that can be bought is level packs with the prisms, of course. The Wii U pad is equipped with a built-in camera that players can use to generate custom levels on the fly by taking a photo. But we wanted to explore the potential
mystery,
thank you. The potential mystery of unveiling an unknown photo. So to do this, we considered a few options, such as a story mode or possible file sharing between players, but these ultimately added unnecessary complexity.
We found a sweet spot with level packs, made up of famous paintings and unique photos grouped by a theme that the players can spend their prisms on to unlock. By having the players unveil an image that they don't know, we've retained a sense of mystery and discovery. Like all projects, we encountered obstacles along the way, which we turned into opportunities to use our ingenuity and strength as a team. We took these challenges and used them to not only grow as creators, but to improve our game concept. As a result, we now have a game that is more refined, more focused, and frankly, more fun. We made it through this process as stronger, smarter, better creators, but we couldn't have done it alone. We would like to take this time to thank Robert Lloyd, our senior project coordinator, Stefan Ronk, our team advisor. We would like to thank our programming team made up of Dylan Alpay, Alex Hollander, Danny Megahan, and Zavi Smith. We would like to thank Katie Potus, who did extensive playtesting for us, as well as contributing 2D art assets. And we would like to thank Healthy Mung, who helped us take mocap data. And I would like to thank the team that I am very lucky to have, and everyone else who helped us along the way. Please come in and find us on the show floor and talk to us about our game. And thank you so much for coming out. Thank you.
In an incredible project working with a great little bit of hardware. And now, for our next team, our next game, I'd like to call to the stage Construction Worker Method.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all for coming out. I'm Matt Bucher. I'm our lead programmer.
I'm Alex Ross. I worked on the user interface and sound.
I'm Haohui. I'm the art lead.
I'm Scott Belmont, 3D artist and level designer.
I'm Bryce Cecil Glassberg. I'm the producer.
And I'm Michael Robner. I'm the 2D and 3D artist.
And we are Construction Worker Method. And our game is called Raid My Vault. In our game, you play as a newly manufactured cyber dragon, and you are programmed with 2 life purposes: hoard as much treasure as possible and defend it. You do this by constructing a lair somewhere in the real world. But you have to be careful. There are other crafty dragons out there that'll steal your treasure from you. Defend against their raids, improve your lair, and steal in return from them, and become the wealthiest cyber dragon of all.
In Raid My Vault, you will explore real-world locations and search player-created lairs. You will infiltrate these lairs in an effort to steal treasure from other players by using stealth tactics and special equipment. You also construct your own lair using an assortment of different rooms and security systems. Every lair has a location in physical space.
As a cyber dragon, you need to create your own lair to surround and protect your vault using these room pieces you see behind me. Within these rooms, there are AI that are outfitted to protect your loot, such as guards, cameras, turrets, and drones that'll make sure any other cyber dragon won't leave fully repaired. With over 20 different room types, you have a plethora of puzzle pieces to choose from when creating the labyrinth that'll surround and protect your vault.
We decided we wanted to populate our dungeon creator using specialized assets. Each of our objects adds something to the game, and these are 2 of those objects. The first one, the dragon chest, gives the player extra loot and currency when you open it, and the second one, the energy cell, which the player can utilize to charge their defenses when they're creating their own dungeons. As our team thought about exactly what we wanted from those defenses, we had already cemented our game in a futuristic setting. And because of that, we had a lot of leeway in creating very interesting obstacles. We looked at what other games had done in the past and decided to work off that while adding our own specialized flair. As such, our AI defenses both look and feel streamlined while still being very effective. However, our raiding player is not without their own advantages. Each time you look at it, you have things that you can use, such as grenades, a rocket launcher, a rifle, or perhaps something a little more technologically advanced. We equip the player with the greatest achievements of the day, allowing for a high amount of variability in both gameplay and tactics.
Building our character has been an experience that shaped by our future theme. We first started trying to do a regular man with arm suit, but later on we decided on a Saber Dragon would be more interesting and unique idea. We also want to show up our spirit and give a little note to Mario the Drexel Dragon. This is the very first model we made back in fall for the Saber Dragon, and after 9 months of production, now we have a fully textured and animated Saber Dragon that the player will experience the raid mode with and do stuff like firing rifles and rocket launcher, take down enemies by using items and skills, and take as many treasure as you can.
When raiding, players are first greeted with a map screen where they can see different dungeons that appear in the real world, also select these dungeons and raid them. When raiding, players play as the Cyber Dragon. They progress through the dungeon and make their way to the vault to basically steal the opponent's loot. Once the Cyber Dragon has reached basically, the dungeons consist of enemy AI where they can go through and the player has to avoid the different guards and drones that appear. And once the player has reached the end of the dungeon where the vault is, they will be rewarded with loot and continue on to the next dungeon. All right, we would like to thank our advisor, Jeremy Fernsler, our professor, Robert Lloyd, and all of our family and friends for all their support throughout this entire project. We'd like to thank you, the audience, for coming out today to see our presentation. We'd also like to have you all come out to our booth after the show. Thank you.
The teams are always made up of at least 5 digital media students from our program, but we encourage them to partner with other programs around the college and the university. Some of the teams, though, do end up flying solo, and they face the challenges of that. But Construction Worker Method was an impressive team that survived all on their own without CS help and otherwise, so very well. And now, eager to take the stage, our one and only IDM application team, an excellent team, Team 6K.
Hello, everyone. We are Team 6K. Before we talk about our project, there's a very important public service announcement that you all need to see.
The Urban Center. To the outside world, it is the home of the Westphal College of Media Arts and Design. People see a state-of-the-art facility, housing recording studios, computer labs, and research facilities for a wide array of disciplines that encompasses all aspects of media. But what the world doesn't see is the hundreds of people in the urban center suffering from a tragic disease known as WAIDS, or Where Am I syndrome. These men and women spend seconds, even minutes of their lives, lost within the never-ending maze of staircases that is the urban center. Forever, they will be doomed to be a few minutes late to class and kind of annoyed that they can't find the restroom. But there is a cure, and we here at Team 6K are working on it. It's called Urban Explorer. Urban Explorer is an app that you can download to your iPhone, Apple Watch, or Android device that will give you a map of the urban center and a clear, easy-to-follow route to any room within the building. Because of our contributions, there is still hope for those suffering from WAIDS. Help us fight back by downloading Urban Explorer on the App Store or Google Play Store. And please make sure to support the cause on your social media platforms with the hashtag #PureWays. Together, we can end the confusion, end the desperate runs through the hallways, and navigate our way towards a brighter tomorrow. This project was made possible not only by this amazing team, but by these little miracles of devices known as the Estimo beacons, like this little guy that I have right here. Hi, my name is Zach, and I'm the project manager of Team 6K. Over a year ago, my colleague Dan and I discovered the Estimo beacons, and we were instantly fascinated by them. They are Bluetooth-enabled sensors, able to transform any space into a location-aware environment. Think about when you use a GPS, or a service like Google Maps. Your location is being determined by satellites way up in space. In our app's case, the beacons work like those satellites. And with over 30 of them placed throughout the architecture of the urban center, they are able to find your location no matter where you are in the building, making our app possible. As we started work on this project, we wanted to make sure it had a strong foundation in design and user experience.
Hi, I'm Jeff, and I'm on the design team. So at the very beginning of this project, we established 3 core values that we carried with us throughout the entire design process: simple, friendly, and intuitive. These served as a foundation for us to lean on in the face of the various design and development challenges that we encountered along the way. We utilized whiteboard brainstorming sessions, user interviews, and quick iterations of wireframes to settle on a flow and general layout structure that we felt optimized the wayfinding process. We developed our style guide alongside of our research and general experience design and made sure that the two worked really well with one another. We moved through a few iterations and ultimately settled on something that really encompasses those core values. All in all, we ended up with custom map designs, iconography, color schemes, typography, and a general layout structure that made for an effective and refined experience.
Hi, I am Singi, and I am part of the design team. What you see here are the initial maps that we were given to work with. These are the floor plans for an urban center that was being built 4 years ago. And as you can tell, it is quite cluttered and has a lot of information that is not necessarily useful for our audience or users. So we changed that. We carry over our 3 core design values into our iconography. Each of our icons were designed to speak universally to what our users will find in other wayfinding applications, all while maintaining our own visual styles. In addition to our iconography, we use different colors to differentiate different rooms. So classroom from a lab, this allowed ease of use for our users upon first glance. Altogether, we incorporated these styles into each floor level of Urban Explorer. With this, we were able to present our maps in a more clear and concise way, as well as bring a better grasp on the space as a whole.
Hi, my name is Rahul. I'm a part of the design team. Throughout the design process, we developed a prototype in a software called Pixate. This allowed us to get the general flow and the general time of the overall application. With this prototype in hand, we were able to get user feedback based off of from different users who would give us feedback based off of users who would give us oh my God, I'm blanking. Based
tell
off
us what was right, what was wrong.
Yeah, they would tell us what was right, what was wrong throughout the process, and then we would hand it off to the development side, who would then incorporate into the main app.
Hi, I'm Dan, and I'm part of the development team. As Raul said, with the prototype, we were ready to build exactly what we needed for the app. The majority of this app was made by using a software framework known as Indoors. I used it specifically to create the maps necessary for our app to function. First, we put in the maps that were created by the design team. Then we put in walls to label the rooms and portals for staircases and elevators so that the app could plan its route through the building. And there we go. This process was done for all 8 floors of the urban center. And with the maps in place, the other developers could use the data to make the app work.
Hello, I'm Patrick, and I'm part of the development team. Here's the iPhone version of our app, Urban Explorer. It could do a lot of cool functionality. When a user wants to find a room, they could first search for it. The search feature filters the room based off the room number that the Drexel student can see on their class schedule. Next, the app could filter the room by its room type. The room type is classroom, office, lab, restroom, and other, such as printing center. Next, a list is generated of the rooms based off the filtering. The app can then filter by the floor. The floors are 1 to 4, and also the mezzanine levels, which are in between the main ones. The app can then give a tour of the rooms based off of the student's major. The app can also recommend a wheelchair accessible path for the user if they need it. And then last but not least, we developed a button to find the nearest restroom for the user.
Hi, I'm Paul. I'm on the development team. So we wanted to create an Apple Watch companion app for Urban Explorer. And with this app, we wanted the app to give the users subtle but non-interfering updates, such as notifying you of what floor that you're currently on, keeping you on track of your current route, and also notifying the users of some engaging information once they reach their destination.
Even though our time at the Urban Center is coming to an end, it is not the end of Urban Explorer, and it is certainly not the end of the beacons. We developed Urban Explorer to be a legacy project, so that any team in the future who wants to contribute to it will be able to do so. However, that doesn't mean that if they want to use the beacons, they have to develop for our app. The beacons are universal devices, able to be used by any future team for any future indoor location project they want to create. We're proud and excited to not only leave behind this project, but also this new technology as a legacy to the Urban Center, the place that cultivated our careers. We now like to take a quick moment to thank all the people who are responsible for making this app a reality. Our advisor, Troy Finnemore, for his general support and funding of the project. Robert Lloyd for heading the senior project process and keeping the fire under us when things got bad. Jervis Thompson for his programming assistance. Jay Rappaport for his help in setting up the beacons throughout the building. Tia James from the admissions office. She helped us understand exactly what a navigational app of the Urban Center needed to have. Estimote Incorporated for actually creating the beacons and supplying us with the ones we needed for our app to work. And last, but certainly not least, all of the students who let us take pictures of them looking sad, and our friends and family who stuck with us through these grueling 9 months that is Senior Project. And of course, we'd like to thank all of you for coming out today. Please check out our table that we have at the expo after the show. We've got a lot of different devices and cool things for you to check out. We are Team 6K, and we hope you like Urban Explorer.
A really technologically challenging project. They not only worked with the beacon technology and the middleware that was a challenge. They learned how to deal with an external development team and work through a lot of different bugs in the code and solve their problems really well. And having the legacy beacon array within the building is exciting for future projects. We're looking forward to that. I'm going to back up. And now, I'm very happy to call to the stage Fancier Fish.
Hi everyone, we are Fancier Fish Studios and we are here today to present to you our game, Remote Raiders. I'm Michael Resch. I am the digital media lead and technical director for the project.
My name is Jordy Miller and I'm the art director and marketing lead.
Hi, I'm Patrick Martin. I am the technical artist for the team. My focus was on lighting and the maps.
Hello everyone, my name is Zian Pan. I'm the 3D generalist, mainly focused on the 3D modeling and its texture design for the team.
Hi everyone, I'm Jimmy Wu. I am UI and 2D artist, focusing on character design and user interface layout.
Now, because this was our senior project, it was an endeavor that really took more than just the 5 of us to work on. So we had our wonderful CS team led by Zach Howell, and including Tom Rodriguez, Matt Walker, Vincent Engard, Jeremy Bennett, and Mike Irizarry. And they all worked on the project just as much as we did, so it didn't feel right not to mention them here. Now, Remote Raiders is a party game where the controller is already in your pocket. Now, what that means is it is a game played on a large screen like a television or a projector, kind of like this one, but you could also play it on a laptop or anything like that. But the key of our game is the controller is your smartphone, and this allows us to put information on there that you'd normally have to put on the screen, like your health or secret objectives and hidden items and those sorts of things, making a unique kind of experience that really shines. But that's kind of a lofty description of our game. Let's talk about the numbers. Our game has support for 10 players on 10 different mobile devices. We have 4 characters, 11 unique objective types, 14 items, 6 environmental hazards and traps, 3 fully playable maps, and we've attended 3 industry events to show off our game. We've also spent an uncountable number of hours on this project at this point. It's been an amazing experience. All that time really bleeds together a little bit. It let us do things that we wouldn't have been able to do before, and we learned a lot from it. Let's show you our trailer.
Danger. Excitement. Adventure. These are things you'll find in the new video game, Remote Raiders. Invite up to 10 friends for real raiding action. Don't have enough controllers? That's okay. See, this game runs on cellular telephone technology. Remote Raiders, the party game where the controller's always been in your pocket. Visit us at fancierfish.net.
As soon as the game starts, each player will receive his or her own objectives on phones, such as obtain a golden orb or eliminate a designated target. Each objective worth points. By the end of the round, whoever earns the most points wins the game. Therefore, it is very important to talk to other players or even sneak peek to other players' mobile device in order to build your alliance or jeopardize other players' objectives. Level design is the foundation of Remote Raiders. As you see, this is our original concept design for the level. It contains various sizes of rooms and hallways. We want the players to explore the map and battle each other. Then we built this gray box as proof of concept. And also we received a great amount of playtest data, which shows that a lot of players spent most of the time on exploring those rooms for chests instead of battling each other. That was not the excitement that we were looking for. Then it cost us a lot of time to modify the map and try to balance the gameplay. However, at the end, we decided to build something completely new. Modular map system. First, we build each pieces of modular map model, and then our technical artist, Patrick, put everything together, build a map, and then populate the environment with props. With this method, we are able to easily manipulate and modify the map according to our playtest data. And eventually, we came out the ultimate balance between battle and exploration.
So this is the current iteration of our temple map. Our design focus for this map was around the new player experience. So a lot of our design was around putting in the long hallways and large rooms. New players really have a chance to get a handle on their controls, as well as they don't have to worry about enemy players being right on top of them when they spawn in. So this is our second map, the Ruins of Alcatraz. Our design focus on this map was around trap-based gameplay. And to highlight this, we placed a lot of the item chests in the far corners of the map where the traps trigger. So players will really need to make a cost-benefit analysis when they're trying to get that shiny new item as to whether some enemy players might be near the trap triggers. And so this is our final map, the Siren of the Seas. Our design focus on this map was around player positioning. And so to highlight this, we created a large opening in the center of the map, around where the gangplanks are, and we placed the item spawns there to get players to really use those gangplanks. And so players can take advantage of this treacherous terrain when they by using items such as the whip, the dynamite, or the hammer that all have knockback to eliminate their foes.
When we were first in development with Remote Raiders, what helped inform and explore the theme and visual aesthetic were our characters. We wanted visually distinctive characters from the beginning, utilizing color and design, as we were planning on supporting a large amount of players. We also designed them to stand out against the environments in order to aid their visibility on screen. We went through various iterations and narrowed it down to 7 characters, and then further down to our final 4. Our first character, the archaeologist Rip Daring, was also a test for our 2D rigging system that I used to animate all of our characters. We chose 2D characters to create a unique visual aesthetic in comparison to our maps. Once our first character was done, we continued designing the following 3, keeping in mind how they played together visually, as well as how they stood out against the environments.
So in the game, player can use item to establish their strategy to get a win. Here are some basic features of our item stock. Each player can hold up to 4 items at the same time. Those items will show in the inventory on your phone. You can use items by typing on item icon on those buttons. However, you won't get any items at the very beginning. All items are covered by 3 types of chests around the map. Each chest will randomly give players 1 item unless their inventory is full. Items in different chests have different functions and abilities. The first chest is the weapon chest, which contains a variety of weapons that are used to eliminate other players. Once player has been eliminated, their item will drop as chest. Here is the treasure chest. You can get gem or the golden orb from it. Each gem and the golden orb worth points. We also have the tool chest. You can affect other players by using items from the tool chest. For example, the smoke bomb, as you can see, will obscure other players' vision on the phone for a short time. Or you can use the healing gun, which is on the right, to heal your friend. The war item used to against other players' attack. So all these items provide a more enjoyable gameplay experience to players.
Now, speaking of an enjoyable gameplay experience, we've taken our game to a number of industry events and conferences over the last few months, and we've been working on it. We went to the East Coast Games Conference as well as Philly Tech Week in April, and we're planning on going to Too Many Games later this year. So at these events, we got a lot of great support, a lot of great people really excited about our game, and we got to show off not just for ourselves, but for Drexel and for our company. Even Billy Jesus really enjoys Remote Raiders. And from these events, we got a lot of really great user feedback that let us know not just when things needed to be changed, but when things were good. It let us stop working once things worked and keep working when things needed to be fixed. And now that most of the problems are fixed, we're planning on releasing our game within the next few months. Next week, we hope to have our controller app out on the iOS and Google Play app stores. The controller will always be free, so if you take our game to a party or something, you'll never have a problem of needing more controllers. The game itself also is hopefully going to be in early release on itch.io next week, June 15th again. The game itself will run for $5. We want this to be an affordable and enjoyable experience. If you're bored at a party, stuck with your friends, and you want to play our game, you can just download it and have a good time. The final release is aimed for July 15th, where we hope to be on Steam Greenlight, as well as Apple TV. The final release will not be any more expensive than what we've already made. And this has been a long and incredible journey for us, and we want to give some special thanks to our families and friends for standing by us through this whole thing, putting up with the fact that we had to cancel countless plans and other events like that, as well as the Drexel Entrepreneurial Game Studio, who gave us the funding necessary to really kick off and do this commercially instead of just academically. And our advisor, Michael Wagner, who kept the fire under us and kept us moving when we occasionally got off track a little bit. Also, special thanks to Catherine Hamilton, who did all the sound design and music for our game. She did it for free, and she was working remotely, and she did a great job with it all. So, with all that in mind, if you want to find out more about our game, you can visit us at fancierfish.net or see us on the expo floor a little bit later. Thank you, and have a great rest of the senior show.
A really great and clever solution to the multiplayer problem of never having enough controllers. So well done, Fancier Fish. All right. And now, our animation crew for the day. This has been an incredible project, and sometimes the students see what the faculty don't, and it's a real pleasure to be surprised and have them prove themselves right when we looked at them sideways. So an incredible project. I present to you CG Birds.
Hello everybody, we're Team CG Birds and we're here to show you our movie, Meltdown. My name is Chris Cerrone. I was the director and the producer for the project.
I'm Alexis Bloom. I was lead animator and one of the character designers.
I'm Avery Brown. I was the environmental designer and technical director.
Hi, I'm Zach Thomas. I was the lead character modeler and visual effects artist.
And my name is Juan Garzon. I was one of the animators and compositors.
So we're going to jump right into it and show you our movie. Enjoy.
And yes, it was actually a cat and not an armadillo, but me?
Stop that buffoon before he ruins everything!
You gotta get it.
Am I laughing? What do you think I pay you for?
To clean.
You're right. I'll go stop him, and you can take care of this mess.
I'll fix it for you.
Just do it.
I thought I was the only one that cleaned up after him. I lock up, too. Hey, buddy, do you really think a little reinforced steel is gonna stop these bad boys? What's my weakness? I'm shocked. But as my father used to tell me, I'm disappointed in you. But also, the key to success lies not only in the key, pulled the plug on your revolting plan. You might have the brains, Doc, but at the end of the day, I think we all know who wins out. But also, scores for a case of tasty cakes.
Thank you. So now that you've seen the movie, we'd like to talk to you a little bit about our process. So we started meeting last spring to come up with an idea for a story, and while we went through dozens of concepts, we eventually settled on one about a janitor who worked in a superhero base, or in our case, a mad scientist base.
Our next step was coming up with the personality and look of our characters. We started with the janitor since he's the protagonist, and it's important that he appeal to the audience. We wanted to give him an average everyman look, so Alexis and Avery drew up a bunch of character sketches that I then took and further fleshed out in 3D. Here you can see one of Alexis's orthographic designs that I then used to model the character in a sculpture program, which was then taken to make the final model. As we were working on the model of the janitor, we were also coming up with the character of the mad scientist. Where the janitor is average, the mad scientist is exaggerated. To represent that, we gave him large, bushy hair, an oversized nose, and a large lab coat to reflect his personality. We also took lots of popular culture references like Rick and Morty, Young Frankenstein, and Dr. Horrible. Here you can see Avery's orthographic design that was then used to create the final model. When moving on to the superhero, we wanted him to embody the male bravado, so that means lots of muscles. I looked at some anatomy books and did a few practice sculptures before working on the final model. When developing the look of the superhero, it was important that he embody the iconic images of a hero, so we gave him a large chin, curled hair, and tan skin to represent his heroic aspects, while his incessant monologuings were sign of his less than noble nature. Here you can see all our 3 characters finally modeled, rigged, and ready to animate. Our next step was creating an environment for them.
So from the beginning, I wanted everything in the environment to be clearly designed, so I spent hours combing through blueprints, diagrams, and even a few Star Wars cutout books. The environment started off really simple, but became very, very dense very quickly. So I made sure to make as many things as I could modular and reusable. Now with these characters and for an environment for them to be in, we could finally make our movie.
Here's a progression shot from our film. We initially started with hand-drawn storyboards, but quickly moved into blocking in the shots in 3D with the temporary models. This gave us a better sense of timing and framing, as well as quicker turnaround time for shots. And this is a shot progression of Black Gold's, one of his many monologues. We started with blocking in the characters with the temporary model, and then we moved on from taking the temporary model to the final model, and continued to animate from there. And once we got our compositing and rendered finish, we got a shot that came out exactly how we expected.
Unfortunately, things don't always go as planned. But thankfully, in the end, everything came out the way we wanted it to.
So this wouldn't be possible without a lot of people. We're going to special thanks a few of them right now. First to John Burton, who was our primary advisor throughout the year and also voiced Ralph the janitor. Then to Ross Regan, who voiced the superhero, and John Cerrone, who voiced the mad scientist. To Rob Lloyd, who headed the senior project class. And then to Dave Moriello, Jeremy Fernsler, Nick Jashushin, Ted Arts, and the entire digital media faculty for giving us their guidance throughout the year. We'd like to thank John Averies, who did the score for the picture, as well as all of you, our family and friends, for supporting us throughout this, and hopefully for years to come. Thank you.
An incredible project, well done. All right, and now our final act for the day. Another take on solving the multiplayer crisis of how to play well with others on limited screens and controllers. I give you 51st and Fire.
Awesome. Thank you guys, everyone, for coming out. This is the last one. You made it. I know. But we are 51st and Fire. We're really excited to show you guys what we've been working on for almost over a year now. My name's Andrew Litzen. I'm the producer.
I'm Tom Drahe. I was a programmer.
I'm Evan Freed. I was the art director.
I'm Thomas Fox. I was one of our other programmers.
I'm Pat Bashan, 2D artist and environment artist.
I'm Allison Friedlander. I work primarily on characters.
And I'm Steven. I was the principal concept artist for the project.
And we also want to give a big shout out to Alex Hollander, was another CS programmer on our team who dealt specifically with AI. So without him, we wouldn't be here as well. When we first started concepting game ideas, we knew we wanted to do a local multiplayer game. And when we looked at split screen games over the past few years, we noticed that they hadn't really changed all that much. So we wanted to create a project that really embodied split screen in a way that hadn't been done before. And we think we have. So, Mirrors of Grimaldi is a local competitive multiplayer game that's all about split screen. So we wanted to take the core concept of split screen and actually turn it into a gameplay mechanic rather than just a visual way of having 4 players on one screen. This is what people are used to seeing, just 4 static screens on one display. However, we do things a little differently here, where in Mirrors of Grimaldi, player survival is entirely based off of the size of their screen. And as they take damage, their screen size shrinks, eventually collapsing and knocking them out of the game. Now, not only does our dynamic split screen visualize who's winning at all times, it's also a huge part of how players interact with each other, which is important. because as players navigate throughout their environment, they'll never actually run into another player. So to interact with them, they must do so indirectly through the use of the split screen. So to survive against Grimaldi's immortal minion horde, they instead punch minions through the shared borders into another player's screen, thus shifting the pressure onto the other player.
Our dynamic split screen also does a couple other things, one of which being a natural form of rubber banding. This means that as players have fallen behind in the game, they have the chance to get back in it. This is because when you take damage, your borders will get closer to you, which means that the distance you need to get these minions out of your screen is much shorter, and it's much easier to do so. It also involves this kind of level of environmental strategy, where as you move around in the environment, the openings in which you can punch minions out of your screen is always going to be changing. So you can use this to your advantage in different ways. As you can see here, the player on the bottom is positioning themselves so that their buildings are blocking their borders and the top two can't actually punch into it, playing very defensively. And then to counter that, here we have the top two players have moved to more open areas, allowing them to punch minions back and forth at each other in quick succession using a very offensive approach. So balancing these different strategies is really key to surviving throughout the game.
So on your right here, you can see a top-down view of the town that players are trying to protect. We've designed the town so that it facilitates the kind of strategies that you just saw. Also, throughout the environment are 3 of Grimaldi's demonic towers that allow players another opportunity to interact with each other. So to use a tower in our game, it has to be charged up first. And players do this by punching either the targets floating around the towers directly or by punching minions into them for a bigger charge. Once it is charged up, players can target other players and trigger the ability on them. The ability you see here is our rage ability, where all minions in that player's environment will swarm to their location. These towers are a great way to either knock a player down a peg that's taken a significant lead or knock them out entirely.
Once the game has come to an end, each player can win up to 3 awards. These awards indicate what the player did the best or worst at in the game, such as Sorcerer for using the most towers or Concussed for having been stunned the most times. And if a player doesn't manage to win any awards, they'll receive a blue ribbon for participating.
So when we first decided that we wanted to use this new dynamic split screen mechanic, we knew it was going to be a little difficult to develop. So we actually got started earlier in the summer before senior year started. And this was one of the first prototypes that I could find. Literally just 4 buttons. When you click them, makes that wedge smaller and redistributes that space. And it's still kind of the same thing that we have going on under the hood today. And from there, we wanted to make sure that our screens were really extensive and they can support a lot of things. So naturally, we made sure that it could support like 35 people. And then from there, we restricted that, brought it back down to our current player cap of 4, and we ended up with the screens that you guys have seen.
So as Tom said, the first thing we did when starting to develop our game was figure out the game mechanics. So when we were starting to look at the art, we didn't have a theme in mind at all. This allowed us to really develop the mechanics first and then find a theme that matches with them. What we found as we were developing was that our split screens act a bit like a hall of mirrors, where each of the environments is a mirror image of the other. And we took that basic idea of a hall of mirrors and developed it out into the demonic carnival invading a medieval town that is in our game now, where we focus specifically on the contrast between form and color of the more naturalistic peasant and his town, and the more vibrant and malformed elements of the carnival.
So we had an idea in mind of what we wanted the game to look like, but at this point, we hadn't actually done any concept art. So where do we begin? Begin with the basic enemy, because the basic enemy is going to take up most of the screen space at any given time. And we can apply what we learned by designing the basic enemy to the rest of the assets in our game. So the basic enemy is shaped like a ball because we want to encourage players to want to punch it back and forth, punch it across screens, everywhere. And we took this form follows function design philosophy, and not only used it for the concepts that you see today, but used it for the rest of the assets all through our pipeline.
So once we knew what we wanted our characters to look like, I was given these orthographics, which are basically just front and side views of each character, and I used them to create the final 3D model. And as you can see, it matches pretty closely to the orthographics. Once we had the model done, they were able to be textured. You can see the final texture up there for the basic minion. And then we were ready to animate. But before we could animate, we had to shoot some reference so that I had something to look at. So this is us taking to the halls of Urban and prancing around like lunatics while recording ourselves. So you can see here the reference we shot and then the final walk cycle. And here's another one where the reference is our other programmer, Alex Hollander. And this one you can see matches a lot more closely just because the body proportions of the characters are much more similar. So along the way, I had to sort of do a lot of technical stuff and fix a few of the decisions that the computer thought was a great idea, like turning our character into like the most terrifying snow angel the world has ever seen.
So while the characters were being developed, we were also making the environment. To start, we had a lot of buildings that we needed to make, so to streamline the process, we used the building toolkit. So what we started with was we took a medieval house and broke it down into its individual elements, so walls, roofs, doors, windows, etc. Then we modeled each individual piece and put them into the game, and then we started building these buildings that were quick to make and unique. Afterwards, we textured each model to give it color, and we used a texture atlas to model or texture all the buildings at once instead of individually, which saved us a lot of time. So then we started working on the layout. So the layout we started with was a bunch of gray boxes placed around the environment to indicate where buildings would go to get the placement exactly how we wanted. Next, we then used the building toolkit I just mentioned to build a bunch of buildings in place of the gray boxes. So afterwards, to give the environment more character, we added a bunch of props to the environment. These included foliage, wheelbarrows, barrels, lampposts, etc. Then we added texture to the environment to give it color and life. We used a bunch of different materials for this, like stone, wood, grass, iron, all that stuff to give it a lot of different texture. And then finally, we added lighting to give the environment an evening time feel. Combining this lighting, texturing, and modeling together, we get the environment you see in the game today.
So back in March, we also had the opportunity to represent Drexel at Intel's University Games Showcase at the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco. We competed against a lot of great schools and a lot of great games, and we were all competing for first, second, and third places in best visuals and best gameplay. So we're going to play a clip and show you guys how that worked out for us.
First place in gameplay goes to Mirrors of Grimaldi.
We kind of started just walking in random directions. But yeah, we eventually made it up on stage, and it's really cool.
So yeah, like it. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. So yeah, like I was saying in that little video, we definitely weren't expecting to win, but we were really happy to, obviously. It was a really big honor. And it really kind of validated this original feeling that we had about this different idea, that we thought it was something different, we thought it was unique. And we're really happy that the judges felt the same way.
So going forward from that, we do have, just like everyone else, a lot of people to thank. First person we'd love to thank is our advisor, Ji-Chen Zhu. She was a huge part of helping us concept and come up with unique gameplay ideas. We pitched her over a dozen ideas, and through her help, we were able to narrow it down to one that was as successful as what we were able to come up with. On top of that, we do want to thank John Averies, who helped us with our sound design, as well as Rob Lloyd and the rest of the digital media faculty, who've been giving us feedback since the very beginning, helping us present our game, as well as minor tweaks and things like that. And lastly, we want to thank you guys, our friends and family, who've definitely been supporting us as we've been working a lot of hours on this project over the past year. And with that, we do want to announce that our game is available now for download. It actually launched today at noon on itch.io, so you can go download it now, as well as in the next couple of days, vote for us on Steam Greenlight. If you don't know what it is, ask your child or your grandchild. They'll be able to tell you what it is. What this basically gives us an opportunity to publish our game on a more well-known platform so more people can check us out. And with that, we want to thank you guys all once again for sitting through these presentations. It's really great to show off what we've done over the past year. And we invite all of you to come check us out at our expo upstairs and get a chance to play the game. And with that, thank you so much, guys. It was a great time.
You can't undersell that national award with the Intel GDC conference enough. They were up against top projects from top schools around the nation, and it was really, I almost broke my laptop when I watched that live stream, and it was a very thrilling moment. With that, congratulations, you've survived the entire process, but wait, there's more. I've asked you not to use your cameras up to this point, but we're going to bring up the house lights. We're going to have a loop of the team logos here, and I invite the teams, everyone, up here on actual stage, not in front of the stage, and let's get some team shots. We want to start with a group shot, and then we'll break up into that. So again, one last thank you very much, and a reminder, the expo is upstairs, and the refreshments are waiting. But let's do some photo ops here, and I thank you one last time for coming out, for your support, and one last round of applause for the teams. And with that, if we can have all the teams up on stage, please.